Hey guys, it's Crystolyn. I just wanted to come on here and make a video about a topic that I've really been thinking about. Thought about opening up to my Facebook audience just because I post random videos on there from time to time, but it was gonna be too long, and I just decided this might be a cool way for me to get to know you all. I mean, you don't really know me, and I want to get to know you. I see that I managed to keep a handful of subscribers after my last video, so I thought this would be a really cool way to just kind of open up myself more and even get some feedback from you all. So something that I've been thinking a whole lot about. I'm always thinking about things. Is anyone else like that? Your mind just keeps on going. Anyway, I was thinking about, people often ask you, oh, who's been your greatest teacher? And some of you may know, may not know, that I've worked for the school system for the past 5.5 years or so. I just resigned from my last position at a school, but child, that's a whole other story. Anyway, I was thinking about how some of the same teachers, because the school that I worked at last, I actually went to that middle school, and some of the same teachers are still there. Some remembered me, and some I didn't have them as a teacher, but I remembered seeing them and they remembered seeing me. And so we would just have these conversations about, wow, you know, what kept you here as a teacher or mentor, whatever it was. And I started thinking, like, who has been my greatest favorite teacher and why? And the more I thought about it, for me, what I found is that my greatest teacher wasn't a person at all. It was more of a position or a title. So for me, my greatest teacher has been motherhood, and for a whole lot of reasons. So for you, it could be a person, it could be a trainer, it could be an actual teacher you had, it could be a parent, a sibling, a pastor. I want to know who your greatest teacher has been, who your favorite teacher has been, and why. What is it about that person or that concept or whatever it is that made them your greatest teacher? For me, motherhood is such an eye-opener. It's such an experience that you're living out every single day, and it's something brand new. So how great is that to be a teacher for you, because you're constantly being bombarded with new lessons and things that you have to teach, but also things that you're learning. And so it's just like any other teacher. You can either take heed to those lessons that are being taught and being presented to you on a daily basis, or however often you show up for class, or you can reject them. Like with motherhood, it can become something that makes you bitter or something that makes you better. One thing that I've learned from motherhood, oh my gosh, I am my mother's child, okay? I didn't really think that my mom and I always had a whole lot in common. Of course, you have some qualities from both of your parents, but anybody who knows my mom knows that she's very quiet and passive and reserved. And although I am very reserved, believe it or not, I only open up to a few people, and I'm in the room by myself right now, so the camera doesn't count. But I am more outspoken. When I see something that bothers me, I literally cannot hold it inside, okay? It's a blessing and a curse, darling. But anyway, being a mother has taught me that I am my mother's child. So many things that I look back on that my mother did or talked to me about, or just that I saw her do, I'm doing the same things. Some that I love, some maybe not so much. But as an example, I have never really been very confrontational intentionally, okay? Like I said, when I don't like something, I might speak out on it, but I try very hard not to be confrontational or rude about it. I try, okay? That's the key word here. I try. So my mom, if she ever found out that somebody was messing with us, or let me tell you, here's an example. I grew up in a neighborhood. Y'all, it was a pretty bad neighborhood. People used to come knocking on my door wanting to fight me because, you know, the whole stupid stuff. I'm one of the few light-skinned girls in the neighborhood. People think that you this and that, and it's just like, what? People used to come, and my mom is quiet and as Christian as she is. Y'all are not coming to my house to even look at my daughter. You will not put your hands on her. Mama won't play, and she would call the police if she had to. Watch somebody bring that up. If you remember having the police called on you, feel free to leave a comment. Let us know how that turned out. But anyway, I am the same way when it comes to my kids. I may not necessarily stick up for myself even like I should at times. And it's not that I don't want to. It's not even that I'm scared. Sometimes it just does not seem worth it. Like, what's the point sometimes in having an argument with someone who wants to believe and think the way that they do? Let them have it. So I don't even care, but let it be my child, okay? Let you try to talk about my child or do something to my child. Listen, we finna have a conversation, all right? And Jesus will be involved, but a conversation will be had. So that's something that motherhood has taught me, that I am definitely my mother's child. Another thing that my children and motherhood have taught me is that my children are only gonna be as healthy as I am. That goes for physical health, spiritual health, mental and emotional. They are only going to be as healthy as I am. And that is also a lesson that I learned from my mom subconsciously. It's not something that was talked about. My mother was a single parent, and she worked, multiple jobs growing up, raising us 3 girls, and my mother did not practice self-care. So that was not a concept that was familiar to me. And so here I am now in my late 20s, just turned 28 years old, and I have 2 kids, and I have literally just gotten to the point I'm not even totally there yet, of learning how to take care of me. Because if I don't take care of me, not only will I not be good, but because I'm not all that I can be, my children will not benefit from me operating in less than who I am. Whether that is exhaustion, whether that's me being unhappy, in a bad mood because I'm not getting enough sleep, I'm not eating right, whatever it is, my children will only be as healthy as I am. And so that is something that pushes me to try to be my best self. And all mothers do it. It wasn't something my mother intentionally I'm just gonna, work and constantly not take care of myself. She didn't have time. She didn't have the resources to think about herself. And I subconsciously took on that message, you do for other people, you worry about yourself last. And so motherhood has totally flipped that for me. It's not about putting yourself first, like you're better or whatever, because obviously my children come first. But if I don't take care of me, I'm no good to them. And so that's a lesson that I'm learning that's been so crucial and pivotal to me over the past year, and it's something that I'm still learning. Another lesson that my children have taught me is that all the hard days are worth it. When sometimes I'm questioning whether or not I'm doing enough for them, if I'm kind enough, if I'm stern enough, if I'm disciplining them enough, if I'm disciplining them too much, whatever it is, everything that we question ourselves with when we're parents, mothers and fathers, but I'm a woman, so I'm saying mother, am I doing it right? God, help me. What am I doing? I'm raising 2 little humans right now. Am I doing it right? And a lot of times on the roughest days that I have, they will say or do something, don't let me cry, that gives me such encouragement that I'm on the right track. I don't get it right all the time. And that's something that I have open conversations with them about. I'm quick to tell them, listen, I have never been a mother before you. I'm just now learning how to do this. And we have those conversations about how I'm gonna make mistakes along the way as far as what to do, how to act in certain situations, how to handle certain scenarios that pop up. But yeah, that's something that has been a teacher from being a mother, just that the hard days are definitely worth it, because it's often in those moments that they say or do something that lets you know that those hard times, oh my gosh, they're gonna work out and be just fine. Another thing that my kids have taught me is unconditional love. See, the way that my personality is set up, I realized real quick when I had kids that I love them completely different than I've loved any other person ever. Ever. So I learned that I have this love for them that can never, now not every mother has this either, so let's be clear about that, but unconditional love is something that I had never experienced before my children. And I'm slightly ashamed to say that, because I'm married. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. But to actually say without a doubt that I have shown and expressed unconditional love, I've never done that before my kids. There are some times that we do things out of duty, right? But there are things that you do that you reach down deep on the inside and you pull it out. And that love for my children is just something that takes me to a level that I've never experienced before. And I'm so grateful for that. And every day I'm asking God to show me how to walk that out in other relationships in my life. I want to experience that in the other relationships that I have with my family, just other relationships. I want that. One other thing too, I'm learning that with my children, it's taught me that parent-child relationship with God. I did not grow up having my biological dad there all the time, and that is no shade to him. Love you, Pops. But my parents were divorced, so and we lived in different cities. I didn't always grow up seeing him and having that bond. So relating to God on that level has been a struggle at times. But what has definitely helped is being a mother and seeing how I can love someone like I do. To know that God loves me 1,000 times more than that is mind-blowing, and it's definitely sobering, and it helps me to experience his love, his grace, his mercy, his kindness on a whole other level each and every day. And I'm just so grateful that he has allowed me to be a mother and experience that. Anybody else have those experiences? Please be sure to leave a comment and let me know. And if you know somebody who, if you witness them being a parent, and they don't necessarily have these qualities, attest to that too, because I have seen it. There are some people who don't have this same kind of thing, which is why I was kind of torn about using this as my greatest teacher. But it's the most powerful thing I could think of, that my children have literally been my greatest teacher, and I'm just so grateful to have them. Oh my gosh, I love them. My children have taught me to question things that I've held on to, whether those are traditions, beliefs, ideologies, my way of thinking, my perspective on things. They've taught me to question that. Have you ever had a child come and ask you a question and you didn't quite have an answer for it? That will let you know really quick. And then even if you have an answer but you don't quite know how to articulate it, just the fact that they're asking that and it's challenging you to come up with a response, that will have you questioning yourself. And why do I believe this way? Why do I think like this? Is it because I was taught to? Is it innate in my being? Was I born thinking this way? Just whatever it is, they've definitely taught me to question how I think about certain things, and I love that. I really do love that about them. The one thing that I know I've done is grow stronger in my faith because of them. They inquire about so many things, ask me questions all the time, and it's just a really beautiful thing to watch my faith grow as I grow in motherhood, and it's just awesome. Watching my children, because I always say children are so much closer to God than we are. And the one thing that I see in my kids is that they have these experiences that they share with me that let me know if I ever questioned it, God is real. And I don't question it, but we've all had questions at times about certain things or why certain things happen. And have you ever been praying so hard about something and God will use a child to give you the answer? That's happened to me. And so it's been a blessing to me to have my children do that. Sometimes it can be looked at as a disadvantage to have children young. I mean, I was an adult when I had my kids, but I was 21 and 22 when I had my children. And so sometimes you feel like, you're not ready or you're just not there. And I knew that I wasn't in the best space in my life to give them everything that I would want them to have. I want to have this much money in the bank, and I want to be able to already be a homeowner and finish school before I have kids. And it just didn't work out like that, which is fine. It's all a part of God's plan. And I mean, of course, decisions that we make as well, but definitely being their mom has taught me to embrace the challenges that come. And then there's something about being a mother. They give you this desire to keep moving on when you feel like you cannot. When you feel like all hell is breaking loose and you don't have anywhere to turn or anything to do, there is something inside of you that says, I have lives depending on me. I don't have time to give up. Lord, you're gonna have to give me the strength because stuff got to get done, and it'll happen. So that's been awesome to see. It hasn't always been a fun process, but the outcome is always that God comes through, and I'm grateful that he's teaching me these lessons as a mother. And I'm just so proud of my kids, even with them being 5 and 6 years old. I'm just so proud of the little people that they are becoming. And one thing I always like to say is that because I'm tough on my kids, and I always say I'm raising somebody's mother, somebody's wife, somebody's husband, and somebody's dad. And they need to have the tools to function in those relationships. And so when I'm raising them each and every day along with my husband, their father, we keep that stuff in mind, that they are going to be someone's spouse and parent one day. And we want them to walk confidently in that as much as they can. I mean, of course, you're not going to know a whole lot about those roles until you're walking in it. But we want to equip them with the most tools that they can possibly have ahead of time. 2 more things that I want to share about what motherhood has taught me. And one is that adults are much more afraid of change than children are. We sometimes make excuses as to why we don't want to do certain things. Well, the kids, or I don't want to do that because the kids, I don't know if they're ready. No, the kids will be just fine. We are the ones that are much more afraid of change. They're so much more resilient and willing to experience new things than we are. And so my children have taught me even more to step outside of my comfort zone and allow God to show me different experiences and just to experience new things in general. I'm gonna tell you one thing. I didn't think I was gonna open up about this. It's something small, but I didn't want to hold debate from the spiritual committee about this. But I did yoga for the first time the other day, and I really, really loved it. It's something I've always wanted to try, but growing up in church, that's the devil. That's the devil. You stay away from that. That's another religion. You don't do that. And listen, somebody might feel that way. I'm not trying to do this debate right now. That's why I didn't want to bring it up. But my children actually started doing yoga at school, and I didn't know how to feel about it. At first, I was like, oh my gosh, Satan gonna get them. You just think all these different things, because people tell you not to do that. And maybe the kind of yoga that certain people did that they're telling you to stay away from, maybe that particular kind, that strand wasn't good. But my children have actually done it in school. They do go to public school, and at first I was concerned about the fact that they came, but they were actually telling me, Mom, like, this keeps you calm and it really helps you if you're feeling upset about something. You could just try this and just really get in touch with who you are. And they're coming home telling me stuff, and I said, well, maybe I need to try this, lower my stress level some. And so I talked to a spiritual leader of mine. It was actually my pastor of the past 5 or more years. I did just recently join a new church. Shout out to Heights. But I talked to him about it, and he was just like, no, like, people, a lot of times, people who are afraid, they're operating in a spirit of fear. And I've always noticed the people who do yoga, like, they have this calm nature about them. Like, they're in touch with themselves emotionally, spiritually, and with their physical bodies in a way that I know I'm not in touch with myself and not in tune. And it's something that I desire to have. Yes, I know I can get that from Jesus, but I also have struggled with anxiety and stress all my life. I was a worry wart, like, just always worrying about something, which that's a whole other story as well. We can get there as we unfold our lives and get to know each other more. But anyway, it's something that I've always dealt with, and so I always wanted to try yoga because they say it can be such a calming thing. And when I went, it was hot yoga. It was amazing. There was no meditation as far as or chanting, nothing like that. It was teaching you poses, teaching you how to stretch your internal limits. Like, what you think you can't do, you can. And that is something that I feel like my children taught me, and they opened me up to the idea to try yoga, and I have to say I've really enjoyed it. And until the Lord tells me it's not good, because I prayed about it and I will continue to pray about it, I'll continue to do it because it's made me feel really, really good, and I'll keep on trying it. The last thing I'll talk about that my children have taught me, let's see my little notes here. They taught me that I am way more than I give myself credit for. And that's even hard for me to say because I don't want to just sit here and talk about myself, and I'm just not one of those people like I'm so great and I'm just fabulous at this mom thing. Like, no, every day I'm like, Lord, am I getting it right? Am I doing this right? Am I scarring them for life? Are they gonna be in therapy in 5 to 10, 15 years? Like, Lord, what is going on? What am I doing? But they let me know that I'm so much more than I give myself credit for. Sometimes they say things and I'm just amazed, and I'm like, where did you get that from? They're like, we got that from you, Mommy. You taught us that. And it's just so, I can't even describe to you the feeling that it gives me to know that I am imparting something into my children. Not only do I hope they get the best parts of me, but seeing them be who they are. And that is something that I try to create an atmosphere for them to be themselves, be all that God created them to be. That may be nothing like me, but as long as they're who God has called them to be, purposed them to be, destined them to be, formed them in my womb to be, like, He allowed me to be a part of that process. How awesome is that? Do you see why motherhood has been my greatest teacher? I hope so. This video is kind of going on way longer than I intended, so I'm gonna hush right now and ignore the rest of the notes that I have. And I wanna hear from you. Please tell me, who has been your greatest teacher? What has been your greatest teacher and why? Let's get this conversation going. I'm a sucker for a good conversation. So let me know what you think about my greatest teacher, if it's something you can relate to, if you had a poor experience, maybe as a child or as a parent that you questioned, but looking back on it, you're like, you know what? It was a lesson in that and I'm grateful for it now. I look forward to hearing from you. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you're grateful for, learning from your greatest teacher. See you guys next time. Oh, one last thing. I do plan on coming back and doing a video about a blog series that I'm working on right now for my website, but what kind of daughter are you raising and what kind of son are you raising? I'm not going to do what kind of kids are you raising in one, because I feel like there are certain categories that can be broken down into daughters and sons. And so one blog that I've kind of been working on, I hope to post it soon and I'll make a video to accompany it, is what kind of daughter are you raising and what kind of son are you raising? That's going to be another conversation for us to get into at a later date. If you have any ideas about that, please let me know. I look forward to hearing from you guys. See you later.